Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, blue liquor shields, dead slave service peasants, vassals, Kurds, ways. I am Useful Idiot, and today I want to do ostensibly part 2 of my previous video about whether there will be a free Kurdish state. And this video is about our Iraq and Kurdistan on the brink of war. Because as it turns out, while we're having these discussions about a free Kurdish state because of the chaos in Syria and the complications of the Kurdish population in Turkey, the fact of the matter is there's actually a military standoff going on between Kurdistan and Iraq as we speak. And I find it really interesting that, of course, in most Western media and American media, we're not really hearing about this story. And I'm not surprised. It would crumble the facade of a united Iraqi state. It would distract from other issues that are going on in the Middle East. And I think Iraq and the United States and Kurdistan have a lot of backroom deals and negotiations going on right now, would be my guess. And certainly part of that diplomacy is to keep things quiet. So what are the facts? We have a dispute in part of the territories that Kurdistan claims as part of their autonomous region, and Iraq claims as part of their state. And so these clashes are occurring now because Exxon Mobil have contracts for drilling in Iraq, but now are going to have separate contracts drilling in Kurdistan, and particularly these disputed regions where it hasn't been settled yet. So that's where the tensions come from. And I find it really interesting that this should come up, that Exxon Mobil, a giant oil corporation, is in the middle of a potentially brewing hotspot in a war. Certainly nothing new for the region, but it's nice to hear that it's all spelled out, that this has a lot to do with oil. So, in fact, they say in their own words, in fact, a Representative Maliki said, quote, "The Prime Minister has been clear, if Exxon lays a finger on this territory, they will face the Iraqi army. We don't want to go to war, but we will go to war for oil. For oil and for Iraqi sovereignty." And the Kurdish president, Masoud Barzani, in fact, reviewing frontline troops in this clash, said, quote, "We do not want war, but if war comes, then all Kurdish people are ready to fight," unquote. So these two quotes from the two leaders facing off against each other bring up some interesting points. And one is that the Iraqis are ready to go to war over oil drilling rights with Exxon Mobil in Kurdistan, and the fact that the Kurdish people are united in their effort. And Barzani is quite accurate when he says all the Kurdish people are ready to fight, because they have had a struggle going on for 100 years. And they see these opportunities, and they see this, and I think they're ready to walk the walk and talk the talk when it comes to a showdown with Iraq. And Iraq has laid 3 conditions that would be considered acts of war. 1, Kurdish forces fire first. 2, Kurdish forces advance. Or 3, oil companies start to drill. And they said, quote, "If they do this, it isn't a declaration of war," unquote. So seems pretty likely to me that one of those 3 things will happen. The Kurdish forces will fire first, or at least somebody will say they fired first. Kurdish forces will advance, or somebody will at least say Kurdish forces advanced, or that the oil companies will drill. And we know the oil companies will drill. And in fact, there are oil companies already drilling in that area. It's just that Exxon Mobil is the most high profile, but they plan to start doing exploratory drilling next summer. So this situation has the potential to overheat and turn into open hostilities any time now, but certainly keep our eyes open for next summer should Exxon start drilling. But that said, too, there's plenty of time to perhaps negotiate something between now and then, because it's a very complex situation. You know, America supports and arms and trains the Kurdish forces. America supports and arms and trains the Iraqi forces. America has allegiance to both Iraq and Kurdistan, but when push comes to shove, I would suggest that America will side with Kurdistan, and we shall see. But in the meantime, Iraqi Parliament has threatened to slash funding to the Kurdish region, but Kurdistan has 50 contracts with oil companies, so they could potentially land on their feet even without direct funding from Baghdad. But I also know that the United States would not let Kurdistan down, and they would continue funding the Kurdish government. But where this really gets interesting is the fact that Kurdistan has been negotiating exploration and pipeline deals with Turkey. So that tells me that this geopolitical situation is far more complicated than anyone thought. And the fact that Turkey is willing to negotiate with a semi-autonomous region of Kurdistan in northern Iraq and hedge their bets for a future Kurdish state and set up exploration pipelines means that they are interested in the oil. Turkey is interested in the oil. Turkey is interested in the economic gains of pipelines. Turkey is interested in the excellent relationship they would no doubt have with an independent Kurdish state. So perhaps it's becoming more realistic that should these geopolitical events unfold, perhaps Syria will have a Kurdish region carved out of it when this situation there is settled. Then we have clashes between Iraq and Kurdistan, and a Kurdish state could be declared at any moment. And would Turkey be willing to foster a Kurdish state because it has a lot of advantages to them? Perhaps they would even be willing to contribute some of their territory to a new Kurdish state. It will go a long way in Western eyes, and certainly their involvement in NATO and becoming a player in the region and having a state on their southern border that would be a lot more conducive to their plans for the future. So interesting situation. So let's keep our eyes open. It kind of looks like there could be a shooting war between Kurdistan and Iraq sometime soon, and you're not seeing it in the mainstream media. But a very important event, and something to keep our eyes open for. I'm Useful Idiot. Go to be one too.